just removing my bench to have a look at the battery bank down here. The batteries are getting 200, 300 watts. I think it was 324 watts of power right now in nearly full sunlight. And I heard a little bit of bubbling, so I wanted to check. None of them are burping any fluids yet, so that's good. Very good. They're still very clean and dry. From time to time you have to check your battery bank and make sure there's no fluids coming out around the filler caps. And if there is, you need to clean them with some baking soda and water and make sure you keep them clean. Also, some people had asked me about corrosion along the terminals. A lot of people were concerned because I used galvanized bus bars instead of copper or whatever. But there's no corrosion on the terminals. They're perfectly fine. And when I had these outside, they were good for months like this with no problem at all. So there's my off-grid RV battery bank, just for anybody that may not have seen it. These are 6 golf cart batteries, each rated at 6 volts and put in pairs. There's a pair for 12 volts, there's a pair, and there's a pair. So I have 3 pairs of 12 volts at 200 amp hours a set, which gives me 216 amp hours. It gives me roughly 600 amp hours of usable energy when they're full. But because I've had some really bad cloudy days, I've had cloudy weeks, my batteries have not been happy at all recently. So now what I'm going to do right now is I want to set this fan on I'm going to put a switch on the outside out here so I can flip the switch on and off as needed. During sunny days when the batteries are really breathing heavily and outgassing, I want to have the fan running. It's off right now, but I want to have it so I can switch it on as needed. And at night when it's really cold out and the batteries are really cold, I want to have warm air being drawn into the battery bank to keep these warm. So sure, I'm going to lose some heat by blowing it out like that, but it's a necessary evil. I also need to figure a way to vary the speed on this fan because I don't want it to be blowing as hard as it does. I don't want to suck all the hot air out of the RV through that port. So I'll be making some changes here today now. Somebody had asked me about my wiring. If the charge controller, this guy, and the inverter are on opposite ends of the battery bank to so that the charging and discharging are even. Well, the answer is no, because I didn't want to take up space on both ends of this battery bank, my bench. I didn't want to take up too much space so that people could sit here, so I put everything on this side together. It makes sense to have them neatly together. And if I was to run wires from one of these guys to the opposite end of the battery bank, it would have to be a super long wire, which would then have a lot of losses in the lines, or I'd have to have a 0 gauge wire. So maybe I'll do that eventually. Get a 0 gauge wire and hook it up to either the inverter or the charge controller. But anyway, that's what it is right now. Right now I want to set up, I've got my voltmeter here, and I want to check the voltage on each end of this terminal strip and make sure it should be no resistance in the bus bar, but I'll find out in a minute here. Well, the batteries are sitting at 15 volts, so the charge controller must be pumping some serious power into them right now. It's a very intelligent controller, so it knows what it's doing. But because the sun is not absolutely steady and perfectly bright and even intensity, the voltage keeps changing on these. So by the time I measure the voltage here, get down over here, it's different. So I can't do that test right now. It's impossible. But anyway, I'm going to leave this open for a while and let these batteries get some of this warmer air. It's nearly 70 degrees in the RV, and the batteries are only 50 degrees. So I'm going to let these warm up a little bit today. And that's going to greatly improve their capacity and their charging. I haven't actually shown my makeshift door. It's just a piece of plywood that I set up against there, and when I want to get in here, I just move the wood, and then I have that piece of sheet metal as a shield, and it's working out alright. That sheet metal is keeping this plywood from being hot. It's not hot at all. Actually, nothing's very hot because I got it burning pretty low right now, but still, there's my doorway for now. It was quick and thrown together, and it got me through the miserably cold weekend. Temperatures as low as 20 degrees this weekend, and that helped. It did the job. You can see smoke coming down. I don't know if you can see, it's really sunny right now finally, but I have the fire burning really low, which isn't even really that much necessary. I can let it burn out now because the porch is 65 degrees from the sun, so the porch is definitely doing its job. I stand here, I can feel the sun beating down, and the black material does raise up in the sun, and it lays back down. There it is. It raises right up when the sun is shining, and it lays back down when the sun goes down. It has nothing to do with how I cut it or whatever. It's just bubbling in the heat. So it is just that way. But as long as it lays down properly every day, that's fine. I've cleared out the whole area here, all the way through. My wood is supposed to be delivered today, and I really hope so. I really hope he pulls through on it, because there's my wood pile. That's it. It was really cold this weekend, and all of this needs to be split. I only just found my axe. I cannot find my hatchet to make kindling, and I've laid down some pallets. When he gets here with the wood, I've got some pallets down. I've got another one over there, and we'll stack the wood up. It's going to be between 4 to 6 pickup loads, and so we'll stack it up here. And then I've got some tarps. The wind blows these things all over, but the Christian camper guys had left this tarp and some garbage over here. There's a couple tarps over here. I tried to keep that one in the chicken coop, but it keeps pulling off. But I'm going to take all these tarps and cover that wood pile with them. These are all junk tarps I found laying around the property. I got my little wind turbine up on a post facing the wind, but then the wind died down, which is typical. Was that Murphy's Law? No, not Murphy's Law. Well, anyway, it's not windy now, but I left the wires hanging so I could measure the voltage when the wind's blowing. I just want to be able to measure it before I hook it up. So now I'm waiting for the wind to pick up, and I can try this little guy out. But typically though, when the sun is shining, the wind is not blowing as hard. So I'll have this hooked up overnight anyway, just in case it does blow. Now, my neighbor was here with a truck, and he brought me a pickup load of maple. So I've already started putting it on the pallet. He says he's got a whole lot more where that came from, and it's a year aged. It was cut last season. It's gonna be alright. I gotta get the good thing I found my axe this morning. I had to get splitting this stuff, and there's some smaller branches and stuff on the back that I put up there. So he says he's gonna make sure that I don't go without firewood this year. And I definitely got to get settled somewhere so I know where I'm going to live next year, so I can get wood ready. But I will keep cutting anyway, because I need to. If I don't burn whatever I don't burn this year, I'll have for next year. And now that I've got a chainsaw, there's nothing to stop me anyway. But this was an emergency situation here. A lot of people think I was wrong in not having wood cut and prepared, but honestly, what good is wood without shelter? I needed shelter before I could put up heat. Now I've got a shelter, and now I've got heat. But honestly, you have to have shelter first, which is what I did. It's coming along. I'm a little behind schedule, but it's coming along. It's 4 p.m. The sun has gone down, sadly, and my batteries are sitting at 12.9 volts and 58 degrees, so it helped a lot to have this open. My batteries were getting really cold. One thing I had to do having a cat is make sure everything is solid. Of course, this is an RV that may drive, so I made everything stable as well. That's very important. You never know what might move or shift, so everything has to be solid. With the damper closed and the air intake closed, I get a very smoky, very slow fire. It'll burn 8 hours on 2 medium-sized logs, but it's very smoky. And the bad thing is, this is what I'm getting out of the exhaust. It's building up on the plate right there, the what do you call it, rain cover cap, and this is peeling off in sheets from that inside of that plate. And this is creosote, I believe, and it is highly flammable. It's a very thin buildup, and it's highly flammable, and there's pieces of it all over out here. I actually set this on fire just to see what would happen, and it burnt pretty rapidly. So that's not a good thing. So I'm going to have to occasionally do a fast burn, a hot burn, and clean that pipe out for safety purposes. My little wind turbine sits here quietly, waiting patiently for the wind, which stopped as soon as I put it up and hasn't come back. Isn't that funny? So actually see the smoke is rising pretty much straight up, so there's no wind at all today. It's sort of cloudy, but it was mostly sunny today. I got quite a bit of charging on the solar panels today, which was good. I think it was the best day I've had in a couple weeks. Also, well, these trees are pretty thickly leaf filled yet, but it's thinning out. You can see it's thinning out through the forest. So throughout the day I get a little bit more sun, which is good. Once these oak trees drop their leaves, I'll be alright. My neighbor was back. Actually, I took a nap. I'm a little bit sick. I don't know if you hear it or anything in my voice, but I'm getting pretty sick. I never get sick, so that's odd. I think that being cold a lot, and I'm not eating well because of the cold, isn't good for me right now. So once I get used to this weather change, I'll be fine. Anyway, he dropped this off. This is in trade for the Honda in part. This and some wood. And I asked him if he had a horizontal shaft engine that I can use to build a generator with. What I'll use is I'm going to have a horizontal shaft engine hooked up to a car alternator and charge the onboard batteries on cloudy days directly. This, obviously, a snowblower, is necessary because I'm going to have some serious snow out here. And I had asked him if he had a snowblower, and here it is. 3-horse. I think he said it was a 2-stroke. I'll have to look it over. Fuel mix, yes. It is a 2-cycle, 3-horsepower snowblower. 32 to 1 fuel mix. So I'll get some gas, and probably needs a carburetor cleaning. So I'll take a look at that in the next day or two here, and I'll be able to have the ability to clear the snow out of here. That's important. That's definitely good. Hope I get it going. I received a package today this is for Chris and me. Somebody had seen Chris's here and wanted to send us a little something for the two of us. Somebody very kind-hearted. And I knew this was coming because he talked to me on the phone. Now this was received damaged. You can see a little bit of stuff in here. The post office is not always the nicest of services to use. So therefore I'm opening this outside. It's a little bit messy. Once I get the post office packaging material off of here, I'll be able to get this open. I don't see that the box itself is damaged so badly. It looks like actually they broke the tape off. It looks like, yeah, they broke the tape open on the top of the box and on the bottom, causing the contents to leak out. So, there was some powder all over the outside of this box. So I'm being very careful in opening this outdoors. Okay, well this is from a fellow YouTuber, Camper Hollow, who is often on my comments. And he mentioned a couple websites, which I'll put in the bottom up here, that he deals with. He said this is from his, on behalf of the ministry he works with at mog7.org. So we have some food here, some corn chips. Chris is going to be happy. We've been eating pretty sparing recently. Some macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese. Isn't that funny? I was just a minute ago talking about how I haven't been eating well. I haven't mentioned that, I don't think, previously. Got some blueberry muffin mix. Oh, I love this stuff. I haven't had that since I was a kid. Creamy wheat cereal. Some more macaroni and cheese. I got some rice. Still haven't found what burst open, but there's powder everywhere. We got some cans. Some solid tuna, some cans of tuna. Mayonnaise, always good stuff. 100% Idaho mashed potatoes, very good. What do we got here? Oh, I found out what leaked. The grits box is empty, sadly. Well, grits is right there on top of creamy wheat for me in popularity. What we got here? We got some trail mix. Boy, that post office made a mess. And we got some instant oatmeal. Different flavors of oatmeal. Very nice. We've got here some more tuna. And we've got some Got some noodles. We got here some more instant oatmeal. And a whole mess of ramen noodles. Alright. Well, Camper Hollow, one of my top commenters on the videos, I noticed. Thank you. I can't wait to show Chris. By the way, everybody, Chris is working today at Macy's. His first day on the job. First day ever. So, figure about a month before he's back on his feet again. And this is seriously going to help. Thank you very much. I'm sure Chris is going to appreciate it as well.